Take off. I'm going to fly it up the stairway. Well, I'm going to make sure I'm high enough I'm not going to trigger any landing protection. In Lychee, you can change under General, show VPS height when used. So now, instead of showing, it's accurately showing 3 meters because it's higher than it was when I started, put it down to 2.5. So this is now the bottom left corner of the screen where it says A for altitude, I guess. It's showing 2.5 meters being measured by the infrared sensor. Can I get rid of that warning? Yeah. And it's still drifting up and down a bit. I'm going to touch down a bit to make it say 2.5. Okay, don't touch the throttle. Just fly forward up the staircase. And the VPS sensor, because it's measuring actual distance to the ground, should start decreasing. And there it goes. It's showing that. But the drone still stays in level forward flight. It's not adjusting its height in any way in response to the distance to the ground changing. So what purpose is the VPS sensor, the infrared height sensor, actually doing? It's measuring, it's indicating, but it's not affecting the behavior of the drone in any way. The drone is staying at exactly the same height that it started at. I'll bring it back again. Is it still at 2.5? Yes, it's still at 2.5, 2.4. Okay, it drifts up and down by 0.1 or 0.2 of a meter, 20 centimeters. But what purpose does the VPS height sensor actually have, other than to display a height that it's recording in its flight log? It doesn't affect the behavior of the drone in any way. The only time it shows any indication of being affected by the VPS height sensor is if the ground level, the measured distance to any object below, becomes less than 2 feet. Then it automatically adjusts its height away. But as long as that distance remains higher than 2 feet, the VPS sensor never does anything. I mean, okay, it doesn't. It feeds input to the drone, and it's the flight controller that does something with that information. But what does it do? Nothing. I'm going to go a little lower this time. Let's fly let's make it 2 meters. 2 meters above ground. Well, that should, let's go just a touch lower. There. What do we got? 1.8 meters. So this is, again, indicating the actual above ground height measured by the infrared sensor. When it gets to the top step, I suspect it's going to be, why is it not? Yeah, 1.7. Okay, the ground is coming up because the steps are underneath it. And when it gets to the top step, maybe it'll be less than half a meter. And in which case, it should automatically see that top step and raise itself. And it did. It sees the ground is too close and it raised itself up. So if I bring it straight back now, it's flying at that height. What height did we start at? 1.8. It's like now it's 2.2. So it did that only because of landing protection. If it doesn't see anything closer than 0.5 meters below it, the VPS height sensor never has any noticeable effect on how the drone behaves. What does the drone do with that information? Nothing. My fingers are freezing.